After 8,000 miles, I've come to love the MX-5 Miata. But I've encountered a few problems. The biggest of which is that I am too big for the car. So today, I want to answer the age-old question of how tall is too tall for Miata? I also want to see if I can solve this problem, and after that, I'm going to assess whether or not I should just admit defeat and move on. I want to start this out by saying most tall people can drive a Miata. The real question that needs to be answered is how much safety and comfort are they willing to compromise? I'm 6'3" or 191 centimeters, and in stock form, I come nowhere close to passing the broomstick test. This comes with some trade-offs. One, I would not be able to take this on a track. Two, the visibility can be a serious problem with the rear view mirror here. Three, my safety feels a bit compromised, not only in the event of a rollover, but also my head is really close to the structure of the soft top. My current strategy of not crashing seems to be working, but that doesn't help the ambient anxiety that I have. Now, as far as comfort goes, what I've been doing is tilting the seat forward a little bit and then sliding it all the way back. That way I have enough room for my knees. If I don't do that, I am not able to heel-toe downshift, and it's just generally more uncomfortable for me. So that's my small compromise that I make. Personally, I've driven this 8 hours at a time on several occasions, with the only seat-related problem being a lack of lumbar support that eventually just gives me a sore back. So, how tall is too tall for Miata in stock form? Well, again, it's more about what you're willing to put up with than your height. But I'm going to do my best to give you an exact number here. I know a person who is 6'4", and he owns an ND. It's not his daily driver or anything. He fits in it well enough to still enjoy the car. And I think that I would also say that was my experience with this without any seat lowering kit. As I've already stated, this came with several compromises, and that's why hearing from my friend as well as hearing from other people, roughly my height and my proportions are about the max of what this car can accommodate. If I was taller or had any more junk in the trunk, my knees would hit the dashboard, especially if I'm trying to heel-toe downshift, and my head would be in the roof, which it basically is if I was sitting in the RF version of this car. Now, what about the maximum comfortable height? No compromises with the visibility, no weird seating positions, and no fear of your head becoming an improvised roll bar. Well, I would say that number is somewhere between 5'10" and 6 feet, or about 183 centimeters. Now again, your proportions could change this, but looking at my dad who is 5'10", he doesn't have to make any of the compromises that I do, though with a helmet on, he would really have to slouch if he wanted to pass a broomstick test, if you're curious. There's a notion online that if you're over 6 feet, you really shouldn't own a Miata, and I disagree with that, mainly because you can't replace this thing with anything else. There's no car that's quite as pure, especially in the new market. The closest thing that you can get to is really a GR86, and that, on top of not being a convertible, is substantially longer. This short wheelbase gives it such a playful demeanor, and then you have the mechanical holiness that is the 6-speed manual gearbox. You also have the robust, high-revving 2-liter. Great steering, though that one is debated by some folks. I really like the ND3 setup. This is a great car that it's so hard to replace. So telling tall folks to just shove it, their genetics are not gonna let them drive this thing, I think that is wrong. But if you are concerned, again, about safety and visibility and comfort, then there are very real trade-offs to consider if you're over 6 feet. But what if I told you there was a solution? Seat lowering kit companies have been making some money off of the Miata for many years now. This setup comes from a brand called Jass. It's going to drop the seat by about 1.9 inches or 48 millimeters. And I spent $600 to make sure that I had zero bias with this product. I'd like to thank Upside for helping make this happen. If you're looking for another way to play nice with your wallet, Upside can help you earn cash back at the pump, grocery store, and countless restaurants. Fuel prices can be a jump scare. That's why I personally use Upside to earn cash back. It's very straightforward to use. You open the app, claim an offer, and then use your card like you normally do. Over 100,000 participating locations means that once you start checking the app, you realize how often there's an offer available where you're already going. No goofy points that you'll never use, no subscriptions, just money that you can transfer straight into your bank account. Upside has given back $1 billion to its users. To find out how much you could earn, download the free Upside app and use the code Realistick to earn 25% cash back on your first tank of fuel. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using promo code Realistick. Thank you, Upside, for sponsoring today's video. With the seat lowered 48 millimeters, I can just barely not fit, which is an improvement over last time. However, my dad, who is 5'10", can fit in here with the helmet now. He couldn't say that before. However, my problem is not really, like, this is an improvement over stock. I'll take it. I now have better visibility too. I would leave this installed as is, except even with this dropped, so I lowered this, I think it's about 20 millimeters. Now my knees, if I'm like going to heel toe downshift, I can't. And my knee, like just regularly, I have too much of a bend in here. It would not be comfortable for longer distances as it sits. So what I'm gonna try now is detensioning the seat back and lifting the seat back as well to see if it at least puts the bolsters in a better position. But otherwise, I'm probably gonna end up returning this kit. To my surprise, lifting the seat back and taking some tension off of it was crucial. After driving this about 200 miles over the last few days, I have a lot of thoughts about this whole new seat arrangement. The seat back raising kit, putting those bolsters in the right place, and the detensioning, allowing me to sit further back into the seat, makes this feel like a bucket. It really holds you in. Like, I didn't quite realize how mild the seat was in its stock form. This is so much better for track driving. Honestly, I think these now are better than the Recaros. They're also still more comfortable on my thighs than the Recaros. Those have like a very stiff metal structure at the bottom, and maybe if I was a little bit more narrow, I wouldn't have as much of a problem, but those were not ideal. And also, I will say, I think I have more space for my knees here, so I can pretty easily heel toe downshift. So that's a big pro for me. I also can see better, that visibility is improved. The mirror is no longer really an issue at all. This feels like how the Miata was intended. It also makes me feel shorter. But there's one big pain in the back for me right now, and that is this lumbar situation. Short drives, 30 minutes or less, it's not really a problem, but because I've been driving more the last couple of days especially, it is definitely uncomfortable enough to make me want to do something about it, even though the last thing that I want to do right now is take out this seat. Now maybe there's a way that I can just, put a little foam insert in there, just enough to relieve some of the pressure. But my first impressions are rough on that front. After speaking with the owner of Jass, he advised leaving the lower two tensioners attached. I tried it, and while it did relieve some pressure, it was still a pain in the Jass, and it also reduced space. The other big change to the seat is the increased bottom angle. After a modification specified by Jass, it's still steep, but it's been a non-issue for me so far. The kit has not introduced more squeaks and creaks either. So far, the biggest caveat to all of this is lower back discomfort. Does that mean that I regret doing this? No. Just the fact that I can get very much close to passing the broomstick test, that makes me feel a little bit safer. And I don't feel like, now the windshield is big of a problem. Or the soft top, it has relieved some of my anxiety on that. And again, the bolstering, the ergonomics here are generally just much better for me now. And I think that with some creativity, I might be able to solve that comfort issue. I didn't know if I was going to end up making this video. Honestly, I didn't think that the seat lowering kit would even be worth my time. It's not cheap. It's not necessarily easy to install with, the amount of trial and error that it takes, and the potential compromises in comfort due to the drastic change of the seat made it just feel like, what's the use? I'm still not going to be able to sit below that damn roll bar, and I'm still not going to be able to track the thing. And I learned that in November, thanks to my friend Kevin from Jabal and Cars. Ever since then, I've been back and forth on whether or not I even keep the car. And thanks to the Jass lowering seat kit, which this is not a sponsored video whatsoever. I paid full price for the thing. Thanks to the kit, I feel much more confident driving this as a daily for a longer period than I originally anticipated. I still do want to buy a second car. I talked about the Ford Maverick on the channel. I talked about the Toyota Tacoma on the channel. But for the time being, assuming that I can make this a little bit more comfortable for my back, the Miata is not going anywhere. Thanks for watching. And thank you to my channel members for helping me improve my videos. Consider joining for additional content, and I'll catch you in the next one.